What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So we have some new info on combat in Spider-Man Miles Morales, another new screenshot, but most importantly what we do have, which is the bigger I guess piece of info, is a Venom teaser. Now I just want to say, if Venom is one of the other villains that we face in this game, because we have already been teased that there are going to be multiple different villains. Of course, so far we've only seen Rhino, but I think if we face Venom, that is just going to be insane. Now nonetheless, we got loads to talk about, so leave your thoughts on battling Venom as well in this game as a villain in the comments below, and gently click that like button. Let's try and get 6 likes only, and go ahead and click that big red subscribe button below if you have not already. So let's just dive into the info we have. So it does actually seem that every single day Insomniac are now doing this whole text conversation teaser or promo, whatever you want to call it, right? And it essentially reveals something new every single time. Now today was no different, as we actually did get another one, but this time it was between Miles and his mum. But what's really interesting is he actually shares this screenshot of Ganke Lee doing a selfie. Now I know I still feel like I'm pronouncing that dude's name completely off, but we're still sticking with Ganke Lee or Janke Lee, whatever you want to say, okay? I feel like it's the first one, but nonetheless, we know that this dude, we found out about him the other day. He's a dude who's developing this app that is going to be big essentially, and it allows people to notify people of an emergency, etc, etc. Now, if you read the comics, of course, you could probably find out so much more on that character, but nonetheless, as far as his presence in this game, that's what we know so far. So this screenshot was revealed, which I think looks super cool, but what's interesting is the conversation that Miles had with Ganke Lee yesterday. Now here's the cool part. So this is where we get the Venom teaser, and what we do have is a mention of Eddie Brock. Now just for the record, Eddie did actually get teased in the first Spider-Man game. I wouldn't even say teased, maybe you could just say he made an appearance in the game's universe, right? He absolutely 100% is in this universe, because what we did see was of course the thank you card, and what you do see is a a good luck kind of message from Eddie, and that's as far as that goes. So long story short, Miles replies with another article about the Roxxon Energy Corporation, who essentially weren't pleased with Rio's direct approach to public health and safety, and on the image that you can see, it does say photos by Edward Brock. Now of course Ed's history is that he also is originally a journalist. Essentially he exposes the identity of a man he believes to be a murderer. Then Spider-Man actually captured the real one, and essentially his reputation of course just gets torn to shreds, right? And then what happened is the alien symbiote discovers Brock and then bonds with him, and they both form together to become Venom, right? So that's the story that we know with Eddie, which is a very interesting one. So it's all about, that I guess again, that fine line of just a villain, right? I guess you could say that's just right there. It would make for a great story. So we can be gearing up for one of two things here. A, we will literally see Venom in this game, even if it's in a cutscene. We'll see something visually of him in this universe. Or B, is that they're just teasing him again, just like they did in the first Spider-Man game, except this time they are waiting for Spider-Man 2. Now don't forget, this is still a standalone game, but it's a complete different story, and Spider-Man 2 is going to be, the next big game after this that is going to be better than Miles Morales, even though this game is looking great. So I don't know if we're talking new locations and a bunch of different things, but we'll have to wait and see. Now the first option seems way more realistic, as I think it could happen towards like the end of the game. So don't forget as well, Peter technically is not around too, and then Spider-Man 2's main villain could indeed be Venom. So we'll see Venom in Miles Morales as a villain again, creeping up, doing something that Miles I guess freaks out about, would be towards the ending, whatever it may be, and then it would just basically roll on to Spider-Man 2's story, where Venom would be one of the main villains in the game. Like I said, I feel like in terms of the directions, that would probably be the more logical way way to go, but I definitely want you guys to leave your thoughts on this in the comment section below. Now lastly, we got some new info regarding the combat in a new video with Game Informer. Now sadly it doesn't show any new gameplay in terms of locations. The gameplay that we did see was the one where of course Miles is in the tracksuit, and that was a great piece of gameplay, by the way. We saw so many different things, especially when it comes down to the gadget wheel, whatever you want to call it, in this game, which was great. There was so much stuff to really just unravel in that video alone, but what we did get is that again. But what it does say is if the first game was mostly about attacking single targets, then Miles Morales basically folds in more area of effect abilities. So in a nutshell, letting you tackle groups more effectively, and we did see him using the electricity, all of that whole electric blast and so forth, to just take out multiple enemies. And this is interesting because it does go into more info saying that additionally new suit mods can enhance stealth as well as offense. Now one shown is a mod that tells you if enemies will notice your stealth takedowns, and it gets indicated by lines that are connecting the characters, and it sounds as though there's going to be even more to toy around during combat as you basically just proceed in the game to unlock upgrades and gadgets throughout. I mean, the big thing here of course is how much of this stuff can be done as well outside of the main story. We know free roam is going to be a big aspect in this game. One thing I'm really hoping we do see in this, considering we are now on the next gen consoles with this game, is being able to go inside buildings as well when it comes down to these random side missions. I'd like to think so, because they've already been talking about how they've made the open world feel way more immersive compared to the first one. And if you didn't see yesterday's video, we were talking about how they said, for instance, that if you jump off and it's snowing and you jump off the ground into a web swing, you'll basically just see snow kick off the ground, which I think is really cool. And then just like walking on snow as well, you'll be able to see footprints. And then of course they just really love the fact when it comes down to ray tracing, and now considering we've seen screenshots for ray tracing as well, I absolutely can understand their hype behind that. That is really cool. But nonetheless, this is some great info, and I'm really looking forward to this game as a whole. Everything they're dropping for this, considering they've basically started to promote this literally give or take just over a month before its launch, and the details they are dropping just has everyone super excited for this game. But ultimately I do just genuinely think that the ending of this game will basically be left on a cliffhanger to an extent, and then of course that would be the sequel, or Spider-Man 2 would be the sequel to that. So again, loads of interesting stuff, but I'm just hoping we visually see Venom in this universe, because that would be just one hell of a storyline. And I think when it comes down to a villain, that's something you want to play in terms of a battle, right? But guys, leave all your thoughts on that in the comments below. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, have yourselves a ridiculously amazing day, and until the next one, adios amigos.